So there's been some more leaks for Call of Duty's DMZ mode, and on top of all the other similarities that we've already covered in the past, these new leaks show us that you can pick your loadout, that you'll lose on death and have a finite amount of items. The persistent stash is all but confirmed, which we'll get to in a second. There's different factions that you have missions for and can level up and progress through. You can't solo queue specifically. While it's possible there isn't skill-based matchmaking, but don't hold your breath on that one. We'll talk about that again in a second as well. There's also hidden caches around the location that you can farm for loot. And real quick, in case there are any zombies fans that are listening, there is references to a zombies mode as well, but I don't think it's connected to DMZ. We'll have to see what ends up happening with that. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and call it right now that DMZ is the closest thing that we have and possibly will ever see to an actual AAA Studios attempt at a clone of Escape from Tarkov. Huge emphasis on the AAA part, because even though I'm now using the word clone, it's really a genetically modified clone at best, as DMZ and EFT will not play the same. They just won't be the same level of realism, immersion, and grit. That feeling that you get when you play Escape from Tarkov, if you actually do enjoy the game, you guys know what I mean. Call of Duty will not be that. However, if you put some billionaires that wanted to invest into a game for some reason into a room and pitched an idea of an as inclusive and as profitable as possible Escape from Tarkov, I'm convinced DMZ is what you would get. So that was the TLDR version, but we're going to get into specifics for each of these topics. But before we go further, you know the drill. If you like this video, there's a button for that. You can also subscribe for more like it, or scroll down and call me names in the comments if you want. It's a lot of fun. Over the last few days, we've gotten more leaks for the DMZ mode, of which have been getting DMCA'd by Activision, both on Twitter and YouTube. So I am not going to risk it and show anything, but I will talk about it. And if you want to attempt to follow along with more leaks, simply Google Call of Duty leaks Twitter and see what pops up. My apologies, but I'm not trying to get popped for this, so I won't be more specific than that. On the subject of verification and or trust for the source of this information, though, this is the most used source that I have seen being used by all of the biggest names that cover this subject, so I'm confident we're good. As always, though, everything here is subject to change, as it could have been an old build or something that they're just going to release as DLC later, or something we don't know. So again, subject to change. In this latest round of leaks, there's a lot of screenshots of the menus for DMZ as well as Warzone, but we're going to be talking about DMZ here. These screenshots confirm everything that we've been pretty much expecting to see, starting with inventory and the loadouts that you can bring with you. Your loadout will consist of the usual 2 weapons, a primary and a secondary, both of which can be long weapons because that's just Call of Duty, tactical and lethal equipment, as well as a field upgrade, which is basically a perk, at least if that's what it does based off of the multiplayer, and even a kill streak. Yep, there will be kill streaks in DMZ, at least right now there will be. We'll have to see if it's limited in some way or the full list. This part is unknown. Now, even though this isn't a leak, it still ties into DMZ, as in the campaign, we did see how looting and crafting works, as well as possibly a bit of the inventory when in game. So you will have a number of places to search for these items, such as cabinets, bags, computers, as well as loose items in open areas like shelves and desks and stuff. There is, however, a leak of what I think could be the inventory for various intel and task items. There's reference to these items in the tasks that have already been leaked. These items include text messages, reports, notes, missing people, images, billets, and several grayed out other boxes with question marks over them. Again, these could be task-specific items. They seem very important, as they have a whole portion of the UI dedicated to them being stored here, so we'll have to see what the specifics of that are. Next up, we have some more faction-related stuff. There seems to be several factions in DMZ, as with the last set of leaks, we heard about the White Lotus and Black Mouse, but in these leaks, we can see a faction mission selection screen where it has West Bridge, Crown, and Group of 5, where the group is spelled, I think that's the German way. I might be an idiot here. I don't know. It looks German to me. It's spelled G-R-U-P-P-E. So Group 5. Either way, we only see the missions for a few of these, specifically from West Bridge and Crown, none from Group 5, but all of them tie in directly to the last leak about task descriptions. There's titles to missions, aka tasks here, including Make Contact, Exfil Rewards, Al-Qatala Information, and Storm the Stronghold for West Bridge. Then for the Crown faction, there's World Traveler, Convenience, Bagum and Tagum, Health Conscious, Demolitions, Fully Encumbered, and Flight Recon. Given what we can see for some of these missions, which we're about to get into, I'm assuming those leaks that we got before are the descriptions for all of these tasks, or at least some of them, because the text that we see for some of these descriptions is the exact same text that we saw in those previous leaks. So Fully Encumbered is a mission that requires you to extract with a full backpack, including the backpack weapon slot. So this points to a unique system around in-game inventory. Based off of that, the older leaks around backpacks and vests, it seems like they won't work the same way as in Tarkov, but there will be a certain amount of items that you can fit fit, including obviously a weapon slot. So the same might be true for various loot. We'll have to wait and see what the specifics of that, to what a full backpack really means, whether it be strictly weight or a number of items in particular, or a bit of both, we don't know. The reward for finishing this faction mission is a snapshot grenade and $4,500. By giving us that information, I'm taking that as the closest thing to a confirmation that there is a finite inventory, and we already knew about the cash, so we'll have to see where the cash gets spent and how down the line. So to be clear, with that close to confirmation for the finite inventory, why would it give you a single grenade as a reward and it doesn't say unlock, it just says reward? So it's not like you're unlocking that grenade, it's just giving you a grenade. So if that is the case, that can also be confirmed for a persistent stash as well. Otherwise, where would you store that single grenade? There must be some place to put it. Another mission from Westbridge that we can see here is storm the stronghold. It says acquire a stronghold key, clear the stronghold of enemy combatants, extract the White Lotus intel found on stronghold guards, while the reward is $500, and it seems that you can do this 3 times. However, this mission requires you to complete all previous missions in order to do it, so that is confirmation of mission progression. You have to complete some missions first before you can get new ones. These are the missions that you have to complete before you do that. There's AQ Informant, where you have to activate a UAV tower. That rewards $500, and you have to do that once before you can move on to the Storm the Stronghold mission. There's Exfil Rewards, where you must find and loot one of the many hidden caches and exfil with one of the items from them in your backpack. That rewards $500, and you have to do that twice in order to move forward. Obviously, that there is the confirmation of hidden caches, aka the same kind of thing as Jaeger stashes around Tarkov. Then the last mission here, which is actually the first. I did these in the wrong order because the first mission is going to need to be completed in order to unlock the others, so oops there, but you get the point. This one is make contact. You have to use your TAC map to ping contract phones, then find the phone and download the intel on it. This rewards $500, and you have to do it twice in order to move on. On the last screenshot that we have here, we see what looks to be your options right before you enter the DMZ. This is the lobby, where it shows a level for you, then a couple tabs for a lobby, soldier, and weapons. We do not see what this looks like. It is not shown, but soldier, I assume, will be your clothing, armor, backpacks, and general loadout setup. Then I'm thinking, you know, weapons must be where you modify your weapons, or maybe that's where they're kept. I could see it making sense where both are separate inventories as well. There is no specific picture of your stash or inventory shown. So again, given what we've already discussed earlier with the snapshot grenade and stuff like that, again, it's as close as we can be to confirming it's a thing, but we have no full proof yet, or at least it doesn't work the same way that we would see in Tarkov. So yeah, maybe armor and gear is stored in soldier while weapons and ammo is in weapons. We are not sure yet. The last thing that I'm able to glean off of this is the matchmaking process. There is squads for sure, but not sure how many in a squad exactly. All it says is squad fill as an option for matchmaking. This is the same as Warzone and other BRs these days. It is possible it goes up to 6 people, as there are references to squads of 6 in the trailers for Warzone, but we'll see what ends up happening with that. However, past that, there is no option to queue as a solo or duo or squad specifically. You can only select play DMZ from that point, so it sure does look like if you are a solo, you will be tossed in with everyone else, and you will not know if that person that you're fighting is alone or with 3 other people or 5 other people or what. So since it looks like they went and made that an option, I would say it's possible there won't be skill-based matchmaking in DMZ, but that's just the theory. Warzone will have it, the multiplayer will have it, so DMZ will likely have it too. But that's one of the things I like about Tarkov matchmaking. You really actually don't know what you'll run into for enemies when it comes to players, so maybe that's something that they'll do here, but don't count on it. The last piece of that is the XP bar here. So there clearly is a leveling system in DMZ, but I see no references to level requirements on anything, so it's possible there is an entire economy hidden in those soldier and weapons tabs where you need to be a certain level to buy certain items or possibly new missions and whatnot. We just don't see that. All we see are those tabs that we can't look into, and that you do in fact have a level. So for lack of a better word, because these are leaks, that's everything concrete that we've gotten so far. I did want to end on a really crazy weird note here, because I just can't make myself believe that this will happen. In these leaked screenshots of the menus, there's clearly marked DMZ menus and Warzone 2 menus. In the Warzone 2 menu, you can see pretty much everything that I just described for DMZ, but it's the stuff relating to Warzone. There's actually a lot of stuff here, but I don't cover Warzone, so I'm not talking about it. But I did notice, along with the same UI where you can go to the lobby, pick your loadout, your operators, see the battle pass and the shop for Warzone 2, it is the exact same UI for DMZ, but there isn't an option option to see the battle pass or store. In a completely crazy alternate universe where this might actually make sense and they didn't just forget to make it more accessible for DMZ, or it's just not the same setup wherever you go where you just use that store from Warzone and you get that stuff in DMZ, and Activision isn't constantly trying to sell microtransaction items, in that completely crazy other universe, and only that completely crazy other universe, it might make you think there won't be a battle pass or microtransaction store in DMZ, because in these leaked screenshots there isn't an option to go to them. Complete fantasy land there, as again, I just can't make myself believe that would ever be the case. But again, I'm just saying what I see here, and what I don't see is an option to go to the battle pass or store in DMZ menus, while I do see it in Warzone 2.0. Super weird, but again, it's right in front of me, so I felt like I should mention it. So completely assuming that is the case with DMZ, there is going to be battle pass access, there is going to be microtransactions of some form in there. I will mention this for the very last time. If you wanted to make the most inclusive and profitable version of Escape from Tarkov you possibly can, I think that DMZ is that outcome, and it also releases for free on November 16th, so it's pretty soon. Until then, we have the multiplayer for Call of Duty starting up this Friday, so stay tuned for that if you are interested, as the gameplay will be the same, so I'll be doing that. However, don't get it twisted, Tarkov is still obviously the priority. There's just a lot less going on with it these days, which, speaking of, on the Tarkov side of things, we should be getting a Halloween event popping up this week, as it is the Halloween weekend coming up, so be on the lookout for cultists and other crazy stuff happening. I will, of course, make a video on it once that does happen. Other than that, we are also waiting for the next step in the Chronicles of Rizhi stuff, which very well could be the lore event that leads us to the release of Lightkeeper. And in case you didn't know about any of that, I have a video covering it, which is right here. You can check it out. Right next to it will be the last video that I made on DMZ leaks if you are also interested. Other than that, though, guys, if you like this video, then you know the drill. Please subscribe. I really appreciate the people who do. Follow me on Twitter or join the Discord if you haven't already. Both linked below. Otherwise, I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.